says here, so that's a new intro, by the way, changing it up. Why the hell not? Anyway, and yes, I'm going by the name that my husband calls me, which is Says. So today I would like to talk about something that has affected me for quite some time in my life, and I think it's actually far more common than people realise, but they don't like to talk about it because it seems like a fairly embarrassing thing to talk about. What it is, it's called dermatophagia, and it's a kind of psychological compulsion to, well, here's the definition. So dermatophagia basically means to consume flesh, to consume one's own flesh. Derma is obviously like skin, and phagia actually means to consume, to eat. And I don't know if it's at all obvious, because actually I've been pretty good lately. You might be able to see some redness around my thumb. I don't know, the lighting might not actually show you. You can't really, I don't know if you can see like that little black spot there on my finger. So that's caused by dermatophagia, and what it is, very commonly people tend to nibble the skin around their fingernails. You may have heard of someone with nervous disposition biting their fingernails. Well, people who have anxiety and anxiety-related disorders quite often actually bite the skin around the fingernails. And this is something that's affected me for about 23 years. It's something that happened when I was sort of in my early childhood. It's been on and off throughout that time. I've been able to stop for months on end. I think I'm in a phase at the moment where I've stopped, to be honest. But it does seem to come back. It's something that I'm mostly under control, but it does come back from time to time. And it's usually periods of stress for me, or anxiety, or whatever. The thing is, it becomes such a compulsion that you don't even realise that you're doing it. It becomes a kind of subconscious reaction to the stresses around you. And one day you'll sort of catch yourself doing it and realise that, oh, you've caused scarring on your hands again, or whatever. And it can be quite shocking to realise that you started up again. You don't even realise. And the trouble is, the more you do it, as the skin kind of repairs itself, it becomes quite itchy and irritating, so you start picking at it again, you start chewing at it again, just because of that irritation. And it is something that I do wish I could stop. Don't get me wrong, it's not something that I actually want to carry on doing. But like I say, it's this compulsion, and it's almost like I don't have a choice, like I have to do this thing. Like I say, yes, I've tried to stop. Some ways I've tried to stop is to actually deny myself access to my fingers by putting plasters around my fingers from time to time to try and stop that habit. It's not the worst that it's ever been for me. As I've got older, actually, even though I carry on doing it, I'm not as bad as I was when I was a child. In particular, my teens were my worst. It was my hands were so sore all the time. And I'm not that bad anymore, but it's something that I'd have carried on doing. And you know, I found ways of dealing with it in my everyday life. I love to cook and things like that, but I'm aware that other people might think my hands are a bit gross if I'm touching food and stuff like that. So what I tend to do is I'll either wear gloves, or I'll definitely make sure that I wash my hands, put plasters over my fingers. And if I know that I've got something like, I'm making a birthday cake for somebody, I know it's coming up, so something in my subconscious stops me from doing it, and my skin heals up before I'm going to be making the cake or whatever. It's a really bizarre thing, but it shows that I do have some form of control, and that's the thing with this. It's all about control. It's about having something that you can control. When I've got other things to think about, I don't tend to do it. So it's bizarre. It's an odd thing when you stop to think about it, but it's actually very common. And I think there's a lot more people out there that do it and just don't admit to it because they feel like they're the only ones, and they might feel that they're a little bit weird or something like that. But actually, it's not weird. You're not alone. There are plenty of people out there that do it. Yes, I'm trying to stop again. I'm sure many of you are. And really, it's when you deal with the stresses and anxieties that come up in everyday life, that's when you stop. You can't make yourself stop otherwise. So that's what I wanted to talk about this time. Just something to make people aware of, I suppose, that it's actually a thing that people do, and it's a compulsion and it cannot be helped. But you're not alone. So I will see you next time. Bye.